Hello and a very warm welcome to Front Page only on the AIM network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Truly a pleasure to have you all with us. But before we get into the headlines and the stories, it's very important for me to share this information with you, which is the fact that Cypher, India's biggest AI summit and expo, is back in its 10th edition. It is AIM's marquee event, and I'm pretty sure it excites you as much as it excites bringing it to you. Then, of course, if you're very serious about your AI and tech, which I know you are, you will be there at Cypher 2026. But wait, when is it taking place? It shall take place in October of this year. The venue is KTPO Bengaluru. And now, here are the headlines. Former PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi has sparked intense backlash after claiming she could never have reached the top corporate tier in India. She credited America's meritocratic system, prompting fierce debate amid recent US immigration crackdowns. NVIDIA has launched a revenue sharing and credit support model for AI cloud providers, marking a strategic shift from selling GPUs to participating directly in the recurring economics of AI infrastructure. Flipkart is aggressively scaling its AI capabilities, developing specialized e-commerce LLMs and deploying over 250 models. With AI now generating 40% of its software code, the Walmart-owned giant is building an agentic e-commerce platform. And today on Front Page, joining me is, of course, Graha Space's CEO Ramesh Kumar V to reveal how their AI-powered satellites will stream live video from orbit, proving while losing, their first mission will not stall India's $44 billion space race. Now, there is a comment that has corporate India talking quite a bit. Former PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi has made a bold claim about her historic rise to the top, and it is ruffling a lot of feathers. Now, if you would like to know whose feathers, like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for all of your support. Now, let us fly into the story. Now, during a conversation with former US Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice at the Hoover Institution, Nooyi stated, rather bluntly, that she could never have become the CEO of an iconic company if she had stayed in India. Instead, she credited the American system, calling it a true meritocracy, where mentors care only about brains, not gender or background. Now, she referred to the United States as the ultimate land of opportunity, where an immigrant can arrive with nothing and rise to lead a red, white, and blue American giant because of its unmatched ability to commercialize innovation. But the controversy, didn't stop at corporate ladders. Nooyi also drew a sharp contrast between India and China. She described China as homogeneous and easy for visitors to navigate. India, on the other hand, she called impossible for anyone who likes clean, orderly living. Referencing everyday scenes of cows sharing the roads with vehicles, she said the defining strength and beauty of India lies in its unpredictability and chaos, driven by a cultural mindset of "this too shall pass," end quote. Well, it didn't take too long for the internet to push back. Social media users very quickly accused Nooyi of bias and an unfair generalization. Many argued her comments failed to reflect how much the Indian corporate landscape has evolved since she left. Now, critiques immediately pointed to a long list of highly successful Indian women leading major enterprises right here at home. From Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw of Biocon to Falguni Nair of Nykaa and Vibha Padalkar of HDFC. Now, the consensus online, Nooyi's American dream doesn't negate the Indian reality of today. But her praise for America's open doors stands in stark contrast to the reality facing immigrants today. Under the current Trump administration, the path to that American dream is facing unprecedented roadblocks. With the administration pushing massive immigration enforcement funding, tightening green card caps for Indian professionals, and fighting legal battles over a staggering $100,000 fee on H-1B visas, the welcoming meritocracy Nui described as well, growing increasingly restricted. And now, of course, here is the front page take. Now, Indra Nui's journey is undeniably historic, yes, and her observations reflect the era in which she climbed the global corporate ladder. Now, as homegrown talent increasingly drives massive domestic and global enterprises, the definition of meritocracy is well transforming. This raises important questions. Here are a few of them. Is India's chaos a barrier to the top tier, or is it actually the ultimate training ground for it? And the American dream that she credits, is it even accessible to the next generation of global talent? Well, please do let us know what are your thoughts in the comments below. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. Jensen Huang has spent a decade telling anyone who would listen that NVIDIA is a platform company, not a chip company. Wall Street nodded politely, yes, and kept valuing it like a chip company nonetheless. This week, NVIDIA did something that makes that position considerably harder to dismiss. But before we move on into Jensen Huang's latest exploits, I would request you please to go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for all of your support. NVIDIA has introduced a revenue sharing and credit support model for AI cloud providers, known as neoclouds, who have, well, customer demand, long-term contracts, and genuine need for compute, but not the capital to deploy tens of thousands of GPUs. The model is quite straightforward. NVIDIA provides credit support to unlock deployment. In return, it earns traditional GPU revenue and a share of the cloud revenue generated from that very infrastructure. Now, the first two beneficiaries are Sharon AI, which is deploying up to 40,000 Grace Blackwell GPUs, and Firmus, building an AI campus in Indonesia targeting 360 megawatts and as many as 170,000 NVIDIA GPUs. Now, one-time hardware sale becomes a recurring position in the economics of AI compute. That is actually the transformation. Training was the compute story everyone was watching. Inference is now the one that matters. Running models, serving users, generating tokens, supporting agents, operating AI factories around the clock. Now, Jensen Huang said recently that compute demand is growing at levels that are almost unimaginable. A modern AI factory costs tens of billions of dollars before a single token is generated, warranting an investment in power, land, cooling, networking, construction, and GPUs. Now, all the companies with genuine customer demand are still struggling to finance the build-out. NVIDIA's answer is to remove that constraint and take a position in what comes out of the other side. Meta expects to spend between $125 billion and $145 billion on infrastructure alone this year. Now, when investors push back on the capex, guess what Mark Zuckerberg did? He pointed out that any compute Meta builds beyond its own needs can be rented out. The market reread the entire AI infrastructure story overnight. What looked like a cost line started looking like a revenue line. NVIDIA appears to have reached the same conclusion. The assumption driving this model is that compute itself is a product, and the companies that own the infrastructure producing the compute are in a fundamentally different position from the ones that simply buy access to it. Now, when pressed on competition from custom AI chips, ASICs from Google, Amazon, and others, Huang's argument was quite consistent. The competition focuses on chips, NVIDIA focuses on AI factories. Custom silicon that can replicate a chip. Replicating an entire platform built over 15 years is a very different challenge altogether. Hardware, networking, software, CUDA, deployment, operations, supply chain, and support all integrated. Now, the revenue sharing model makes that argument tangible. NVIDIA is financing the factory, supplying the chips, owning the software, and taking a cut of the revenue. That is the platform company, ladies and gentlemen, Jensen Huang has been describing for a decade. Except now, it has a contract attached to it. And here comes the front page take. NVIDIA built its position by selling the machines that power AI. This week, it announced it will also help finance the buildings those machines go into and take a share of everything they produce. Jensen Huang's AI factory thesis has been consistent for years. The revenue sharing model is actually the moment that thesis became a commercial arrangement rather than a conference keynote. The company that supplied the picks and shovels has decided the mine is actually worth owning a piece of too. That, I believe, is a very specific kind of confidence in where this is all heading towards. Please do let us know what are your thoughts on this, very interesting development in the comments below. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the IIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. E-commerce is now shifting from who has the best logistics to who has the smartest AI. Flipkart is currently building highly specialized e-commerce large language models. Now, according to Chief Product and Technology Officer Balaji Thiagarajan, the Walmart-owned giant has already deployed over 250 AI models across its ecosystem. What is the immediate result? Artificial intelligence is now writing 35 to 40% of Flipkart's software code. The ultimate goal is to build an agentic e-commerce platform powered by a mixture of experts. It is combining frontier AI models with their own proprietary custom-built algorithms. Now, to pull this off, Flipkart is on a massive hiring spree. On the 2nd of July, the company appointed Vinay Vaidya to its technology leadership team. He joins a rapidly expanding roster of AI executives poached from industry heavyweights like Amazon, Tata Digital, Coupang, Razorpay, and Groupon. Now, having proven their initial AI hypothesis works, Flipkart is now aggressively scaling its engineering, product, and design capabilities. But the vision goes far beyond coding assistance. Now, while Flipkart is building an in-house AI productivity platform and using external tools like Claude and Codex, the tech is fundamentally changing the operations. AI is now driving conversational shopping, product discovery, and catalog creation. Now, through their AI-powered platform, Seller Lens, voice agents are currently making around 90,000 personalized calls a month to merchants for payment reminders and business tips. That number, I believe, is expected to eventually scale into the millions. Now, despite the massive costs associated with generative AI, Flipkart isn't sweating the immediate financial returns. Thiagarajan noted that the company is firmly in investment mode. Now, instead of fixating on ROI, they are pouring resources into AI governance, focusing on content moderation, response fidelity, human-in-the-loop systems, and reinforcement learning. Success isn't being measured by cost savings as yet. It's actually being tracked through higher click-through rates, larger average basket sizes, accurate demand forecasting, and better inventory turnover. Now, Flipkart's urgency makes sense when you look at the competition. Amazon recently announced a staggering $13 billion investment in India through 2030 to expand its cloud and AI infrastructure, pushing its total planned investment in the country to $48 billion. Meanwhile, rival Meesho is moving just as fast, recently revealing that over 70% of its software code is now entirely AI generated. And here comes the front page take. Now, the AI arms race in Indian e-commerce has officially moved past the experimental phase. As the competition heats up, relying on general-purpose foundation models simply, I believe, won't cut it. As Flipkart's CPTO Balaji Thiagarajan put, he said, building custom models designed specifically for e-commerce tasks is actually the ultimate secret sauce. The companies that can successfully build, govern, and scale their own proprietary AI will be the ones that define the future of retail. This massive transformation raises a couple of critical questions. Here are some of them. Will general purpose AI models soon become completely obsolete in the retail space? And as artificial intelligence takes over everything from writing code to managing sellers, what role will human intuition actually play in the future of e-commerce? Please do let us know. What are your thoughts in the comments below? This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Py project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Py cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker, and these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of rounding. So we have low confidence that the response is rounded.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ml file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Py project created. There is requirement. And this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Py cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker. And these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
Now, in December of 2025, Griha Space's first satellite launched from Brazil on a South Korean rocket. The rocket, unfortunately, failed. The mission was lost. 3 months later, Ramesh Kumar V signed a multi-launch deal with the same company. India's space economy is worth today $8.4 billion, 2% of the global market. The target is $44 billion by 2033. There are 300 registered space startups on InSpace's portal, up from 54 in 2020. Now, one of them just lost its first satellite, signed another deal, and kept building. That's the resilience, which I shall be discussing in a lot more with Ramesh Kumar V, who is the co-founder and CEO of Griha Space. He's joining me exclusively on Front Page today. Welcome to Front Page. Truly delighted to have you with us on the show, Ramesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. Pleasure being here.
Pleasure. All right. So, Ramesh, let's start with this. The Spaceward mission failed, unfortunately, in December of 2025. Then, April 2026, Griha signs multi-launch MOUs with the same partner, InnoSpace, at Korea India Space Day in Bengaluru. Now, most founders, Ramesh, would have well walked away. You signed a longer deal. What did the failure teach you? and why the same partner? I think that's the operative bit.
Okay. So, the kind of process they had, the InnoSpace Korea had, was wonderful. We have been through it. The way they have taken up their engineering, design and development phase by phase, we have seen it personally, and the team is extremely dedicated, and that is something which really I really liked about the team, and that's one of the reasons why we went ahead with them. And we have a good relationship with them, and that's also another reason why we wanted to sign a multi-launch deal with them. So if you look at Grahaspace per se, we have actually signed agreements with Skyroot. We
Sure.
have an agreement with we have been working with multiple other partners, including InnoSpace. So it's not that just that we are doing with them. Last year they went after consecutive months of delays. They did it in December, and that is one of the reasons why we signed the multi-launch deal. We are pretty sure it's a very minor issue, and I am pretty sure they will sort it out. I mean, space launch is hard. You did see.
That's why, sir, I asked you that question. Because
Yeah,
I know
that,
you have partnered with a lot of other people as well, but it just talks about the resilience and probably the vision that Grahaspace has. That's why I asked you that question, because I feel when it comes to space tech, you need to be very patient, you need to be very resilient, you need to have a long runway in your mindset. That's what I was trying to probably bring out and underline.
Right. So you have seen multiple launch failures from multiple people,
Yes.
and that's part of the game, and you have to be ready to accept that. And that, I think, the Grahaspace team has it. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Which brings me to the second thought then, which is the fact that the current Earth observation delivers static snapshots. Graha is building near real-time video streaming from LEO, which is lower Earth orbit, with onboard AI compression. Now, what can video from orbit show, Ramesh, that a satellite image cannot, and what decisions become possible when the intelligence is alive and kicking?
okay. So am I allowed to show some of the videos?
Please, we'll be grateful if you could. Yes, it would really
Okay.
help a lot of our viewers.
Can you see the flight taking off from
Yes,
the?
yes. Fascinating.
So this is not a drone shot. This is taken from satellite.
All right.
And
Sorry, Ramesh, I'm so sorry I'm cutting you through. Just give me a second. I just got a diktat from my producer. Could you start this again so that they can probably just record it properly? I think there was some glitch. So from
Start the
your
video.
end, if you could just start that again.
start the video again.
Hanji.
Okay. So okay.
Tushar?
I
All
can
right.
share the video offline. That's fine.
Yeah, I can see the flight. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll show you some more examples of the videos that we have taken from the public domain or the public data set, and we have used to train our algorithm.
Fascinating.
So this can be, there are endless possibilities for satellite-based videos. Right now, drones are extensively used,
Yes.
but then you have anti-drone technologies that can actually jam the drones, and you can,
Right.
lose access to the feeds.
Right.
But when it comes to satellite, of course, there are kinetic and non-kinetic threats to the satellites, but they are still in the very, very early stages. And so these are some of the possibilities. I am pretty sure now you can imagine, right?
Yes,
so
I can. And honestly, thank you so much, Ramesh, for this demonstration. Please let it continue and you can talk over it.
Yeah. So if you look at it, a lot of things can be tracked on ground when you have a geospatial video data. As of now, near real time is extremely difficult because of the latency involved. So what we intend to do, or we envision to do, is to have near real time geospatial video data that can be used for a multitude of applications. Not
Could you
just
name a few, for example?
Yeah, so some of the primary applications include disaster and emergency response,
Fair.
defense purposes, where you can do border monitoring, you can do industrial intelligence reporting,
Right.
you can do urban sprawl analysis, and the possibilities are endless. You can do it for anything. Right now, satellite images are used for everything, pretty much everything. So
Yeah.
that's exactly how we are also targeting. And I'll show you our algorithm on top
Please
of
do.
these kind of data sets.
Please
So you can
do.
see the flight taking off from the runway,
Yes.
and our algorithm keeps track of it. And we have been training it. I mean, we're still doing it. We are in process. We are work in progress. A
Right.
lot of objects are being worked on. And regardless of the speed at which the flight or the missile flies, our algorithms are capable enough to track it. That is how we are building robustly.
What is the speed right now, for example, Ramesh?
I think it's Mach 2 or 3. So
Wow.
it's just about the city. And you can see it. It's the video has been slowed down.
Yes.
And you can see it. So this is where we intend to achieve. So we are still work in progress. All these videos are from public domain. You might want to put a disclaimer. It's not ours. Right? And so this is a video taken from a seashore where all the vessels are parked, and we tracked the cars, the white cars that are passing by the particular area. You can see the movements. Are you able to see?
Yes, I can. The blinking,
Yes.
little tags of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is one of the videos from a landslide.
Earthquake that took place there.
Yeah.
Look at this from satellite.
So
Wow.
you can see the endless possibilities that the geospatial video data can open up.
My God, that's fascinating.
So this is the landslide that's actually screwing up the whole town.
Yeah. It's like completely inundated, overwhelmed the
Yes.
entire town.
Yes. So you can assess the damage. You can mobilize the land-based teams to wherever it is required. You can see where people are stuck, and
Correct.
then also there are also analytics. A lot of analytics possible. And this is another high-resolution video that's being used to track the number of cars passing by a particular road or the bridge.
This is definitely not Bengaluru, is it?
No, definitely no.
Right.
I wish the roads are so clean and
Fair
clear
enough.
like-
Fair enough.
Yeah, so those are the ones you can actually, now you understood, right? So this is the
Wow. This is, I mean, honestly, an education in a big way, and I'm pretty sure our viewers would be completely fascinated, as I am, with the kind of work that's being done and the possibilities it opens up.
Yes.
Well, we are back, Ramesh, and honestly, thank you so much for this fascinating demonstration. By the way, for everyone watching, that was a wonderful little surprise that Ramesh shared with all of us. He had not prepped me for it, and I'm very thankful that he didn't, because, well, more than him, actually, this was like the best show and tell, Ramesh, I have ever gone through in my life. Which actually brings me to this, with the fact that you're talking about, the filing of patents, because then that kind of comes to my mind. For onboard AI-powered video compression, processing happens in orbit, not on ground, as we all kind of witnessed right now. Please walk us through what onboard AI actually does inside, let's say, a nano satellite, and why that changes what the system can deliver.
Okay. So the problem with video data is heavy, and satellite communication per se, you need to have high data bandwidth in order to dump the video data. And the Earth is orbiting from east to west, and then the satellites are in orbit from pole to pole, right? So it's extremely difficult to first stabilize it, and second is to properly capture it. Third is to compress it and then dump it. So we have an architecture where there are inter-satellite communications and satellite to ground station communication. So regardless of whatever unit is covering the ground, on the move it covers, it communicates this data, the compressed data, to the nearest satellite, which is going above the ground station, and it gets dumped into ground station. So that is the overall architecture. I'll keep it brief without going much into the technical details.
No, you can. Please elaborate if you can. Yeah.
No, I'll keep it here because
fair
a
enough.
lot of things are still under works. I would wish tell you, but then maybe I'll tell you at a later point of time. So we are also figuring out a lot of things on the go.
No, obviously, I mean, that can be understandable, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So the key point here is to compress the video data. Those can be done by two different ways. One is to reduce the frame rate, which we are already will be doing in the coming up launch. And the second one is to ensure that the data is as low as possible that can be streamed on. So these are the two ways in which you can stream it in near real time, so that the latency can be reduced as much as possible.
You're right.
That is exactly how we are doing it. Onboard processing involves capturing and compressing and then streaming it. And then once it's on ground, we have our AI algorithms running on top of it, which can actually detect the objects in each and every frame, which is as like any other drone footage or your CCTV footage.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So that's pretty much it. So we have to build a constellation to have a seamless video experience. It cannot be done by one or two units. So we are targeting low Earth orbit, and we are intending to put hundreds of satellites. The exact number we will get to know. Probably it might run into 1,000, but we don't want to come up with it right now because we are still learning a lot during our technology demonstrations. So,
but do you feel there will be a challenge, Ramesh, as you just mentioned that you don't want it to going into 1,000, for example, from purely, let's say, the management and administrative point of view from that, will there be any challenges with that as the number keeps increasing?
So I don't see a challenge per se because people are building constellations all across the globe. Startups are working towards building constellations. But then, we don't want to clutter it also. We want to see how efficiently we can. Yeah.
Okay. This then brings me to this thought. We just saw in the video aspects like disaster management. So I want to understand from you, now near real-time geospatial video has direct applications. What stuck out for me was the landslide. Give us,
yes,
according to you, the most compelling use case, the one where, let's say, live video from orbit, right, goes into and changes an outcome that existing systems honestly cannot address. Crop yields is a big one as well, given the agricultural yield prediction, for example, given the fact that that sector is going through tremendous amounts of strife.
Yeah, so agriculture might not need a geospatial video data, but that would be an overkill or an over-engineered solution. A weekly image on a particular field is more than sufficient to detect the crop yield. But then when it comes to geospatial video data, as I already told you, defense is one of the primary...
For sure, understood. I didn't mention it because that's like understood, yeah.
Yes, border monitoring and surveillance, 24/7 surveillance wherever is required, this is a kill. Second thing is disaster and emergency response. That is another area where you quickly need to mobilize the teams to provide support to the people on ground or wherever the support is required. Third area is industrial intelligence reporting, where companies who wants to understand a scenario of a particular area, say for example, floating oil rigs on the middle of the ocean. There is some incident or some event that's happening and some fire breaks out or something happens. They want to immediately know what's happening in that particular area. So that is another important application where industrial intelligence is another application where we can use this geospatial video data for. So it's a mix of B2B and B2G.
Understood. But tell me this, as far as the previous tech was concerned, where is this going to probably become a differentiator of sorts, Ramesh? Point one. Point two, the fact that if you're talking about management which has happened, let's say post a disaster, so we will have a lot better accuracy levels in trying to track the overall situation and figure it out. Now, when it comes to border security or for that matter, defense related aspects, I want to get your thoughts on that in terms of, do you feel moving forward there can be some sort of a preemptive way of trying to get into a method? Because I feel that then gives one an edge. And I'll tell you where am I coming from. There was a company which is starting to do this as far as layering AI as on the CCTV overall infrastructure in the country is concerned. You know who I'm talking about, Enithai. And they're trying to do it from the predictive methodology understanding. So my brain just went there. I thought if we can connect the dots, if there is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. So for border monitoring, predictive analytics can be done. Yeah. So certain sensitive areas along the border where regularly intrusions happen or activities are being monitored. That is one area. Yes, predictive intelligence is very much possible. A second thing is that for the AI layer, we can do friend or foe detection. That's one of the easiest thing that already I think a lot of startups are working on. You can actually detect it from space through the geospatial video data, who is actively working on what. As long as it's not camouflaged, as long as they are not working underground, as much as they are on the surface, it's pretty much possible. See, as like every other satellite company, we want to be the data source provider. And we are more than happy to provide the data to downstream companies who are doing excellent work in using the satellite data. So we would be a source provider. So what can be done? Some of the possibilities we want to showcase. Some of the possibilities we're more than happy to partner and then execute.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah.
Let them execute it in the best way possible because that's what they do best. Yeah.
No, makes sense. Fair enough. Then it brings me to this thought then, which is space tech funding in itself, Ramesh, fell 35% to $81 million in 2024. Even as well, the deal counts rose. Late stage capital remains the critical constraint. And we've been seeing that. We've been sensing that for the last couple of years. Now, what is the honest picture of where India's new space ecosystem actually stands and what, according to you, which is Ramesh, is still missing?
Okay, so that's a very good question. See, if you look at the data about around 200 plus space tech startups have been tracked by various online tools, and about 70-80 of them got funding first round. And if you look at the later rounds, as you rightly said, just 9 or 10 might have gone up to Series B or beyond. The prominent names you already know, right? So see, investors want to see results. Investor wants to see how their money would be paid back. And also they want to see solid results. As I already mentioned, space tech is very hard. There are a lot of places where things can go, they go haywire. There is a lot of opportunities for failure and there is a huge amount of risk. So India, any which ways, have a conservative mindset in terms of investments, which is actually well justified given our country's background and how far we have come. Yeah. So actually we are doing really good in terms of tech enablement all across the globe. So that's one of the reasons I think the further rounds of funding gets delayed or not happen in some of the startups. I think we are still in the very early stages. It's hardly 4 or 5 years we are into space tech ecosystem per se. And InSpace and ISRO are really supporting all of us.
Oh, for sure.
And holding us. Actually, they themselves are going through the learning curve. And
I guess everyone does, to be honest, Ramesh. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Everyone does when it comes to space tech.
Yes. Because ISRO has been the only sole player in India who had done satellites or rocket launches. And now the private industry is taking up. ISRO, the people in ISRO have no idea because they have never done it. And regardless of that, they're taking a lot of initiatives, and which is commendable. I really appreciate their support in that. And to an extent, investors do understand this. And, there are a lot of good investment firms that are supporting startups, understanding the risk. So it's happening slowly. It's not that things are not. Slowly, people are also learning through it.
I think also what couple of points you made, I thought made a lot of sense, to be honest, Ramesh. The fact that, ISRO has been almost, it is the cornerstone in a way. I mean, the legacy it holds. So obviously, when they kind of weigh in, I'm sure it encourages you and a lot of other people and a lot of other startups that, wait a minute, man, this is amazing amounts of experience and legacy which is now coming and shedding light on whatever I'm doing, which is great. But do you not think that there should be also an initiative towards the investment, let's say, consortium, maybe speaking with them, maybe talking to them about and educating them that space tech is very patient capital?
Yeah. So actually, I'm pretty sure you're aware, InSpace actually has a fund allocated.
I am
for
coming to that.
So they are doing it. They are doing it slowly, and I think Sydney has been.
But I was only questioning the corpus of funds, Ramesh, nothing else.
Yeah, 10,000 crore funds. It's like a fund of funds. So they have allocated it, and they're slowly disseminating it. I think 3 companies got it in the last industry connect. Even they announced it. So it's slowly happening. I mean, it's not that they are doing. They are also going through a lot of things. You understand, right? Government processes.
Sure.
Take time, and obviously everything is on a.
Maybe that what needs to be accelerated. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I don't want to comment on that because we never know what they are going through, like
Which
how
is true.
they don't know what we are going through. So regardless of all that, we are all working hard, both the governments and the private sector.
Which is a positive sign, which I think is also, and also I guess, when it comes down to deep tech and space tech, Ramesh, let's not forget there is a lot of need to know. So a lot of times they don't let us know what's going on, and rightly so, national security related aspects. Which then brings me to this point. The government approved 1,000 crores for space startups in October of 2024, 500 crores technology adoption fund announced February of 2026. Now, is government capital the right kind of capital according to you for deep tech space startups, Ramesh? Because I was coming to that thought. And what does private institutional funding in Indian space tech actually require to show up at scale? I'm talking about probably maybe numbers, if you feel. That'll give a context to things.
Okay, so when it comes to numbers, right, I probably maybe we can see that in the budget, India got about, the Department of Space got about 13.4 odd crores overall for all their overall execution, right? If you look at the private investments, I am not really sure about the numbers on how much is the quantum of funds that I might got. I might have missed it, but overall, the sum of it's like a normal curve, right? Some of the investment firms are allocating a lot towards deep tech sectors, and some of them are following them, and that is the median, if you can see it. And then there are funds that are yet to come into deep tech sectors per se, not just space tech, but in general deep
Fair
tech.
enough.
Yeah. So if you look at the overall picture, as like any other sector, it follows a normal distribution curve, right? So the investment firms who are early adopters of the deep tech, they're able to invest a good amount of money, and they have also done follow-up funds. And if you look at foreign direct investments, good that India had allowed 100% FDI in satellite manufacturing in the sector where we are operating. And I think a considerable percentage is done, through direct route for the launch vehicle sector also. So these are very, very good signs that, they are also easing the investment companies to, invest from abroad. I'm pretty sure you are aware that some of the leading launch vehicle providers have gotten FDIs. And the satellite companies also have gotten FDIs. So both the Indian and international investors are keen because we are all set to play a very good role. So it's, as I already told you, right? It's all still happening. We are in the verge of an explosive growth for the space economy.
It is going well, according to you.
Yes, it's going on well. India has set about 40-45 billion target for the space economy, right, by 2033. So we're all
$4 billion is what is The target.
40 to somewhere around 40.
Market share was about 44 billion. That's what they want to get at.
Yes, they are targeting to achieve 44 billion
Yes.
to the same space economy by 2033.
Yes. Yes.
That's the target that has been given, and everyone is working towards that. We are all aware of it. So even investment circles are aware of it. So I'm pretty sure it will happen. Given the fact that, see, I'll give you a more overall picture, okay? Sooner or later, we will be an interplanetary species,
Yes.
right? We will have a lunar base pretty soon, by positively within the next 5 to 6 years, a small lunar base to begin with, and things will start moving in that direction because Artemis 2 is already successful. People
Right.
have gone, orbited, and come back. Now Artemis 3 is going sooner or later. So we will soon be an interplanetary species. So more and more space activities is something which we will all see. And when I attended a conference in Florida, the lot of emphasis was there on space mobility. So there are huge amount of opportunities in space mobility. When I mean space mobility, it doesn't just stop with resupply missions or interplanetary mission. It also includes space-based warfare.
Interesting.
Sorry?
I said interesting.
Yeah, space-based warfare, supplying machines, and then asteroid mining missions, and also science and tech, where you explore
Healthcare as well, I believe, right, Ramesh? That should be a big one as well, no?
Yes. Asteroid mining is there. There are a lot of these huge sectors that are coming up in a big way, and buckling up is very important, and I'm pretty sure we are all doing it. So these are the overall ideas that people are also having, and just that they're all figuring out ways to get it with as low a risk as possible. And honestly, there are roughly about 9 to 12 spacefaring nations across the globe. Still, for the majority, 90% of the countries, space is a luxury. They have a lot of problems on ground. They are still sorting that out.
Which is true.
Including ours, right? Still, we are able to play it, and we are one
I
of
think
the...
that's the big breakthrough. What you
Yes.
just mentioned, Ramesh.
Yes.
That, we are in that elite club, and that's a
Correct.
big takeaway.
Yes. So we're still able to be one of the spacefaring nations who have end-to-end capabilities. Hats off to the hard work put forth by our engineers. Just for the last 6-7 decades, they have brought the country to this level.
yes.
In par with developed nations, right? So,
Who, by the way, have been at it for the last maybe 70, 80 years, if I'm talking about the United States, sir.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you were saying.
So with all these thoughts in mind, so there is a huge opportunity coming up, especially with the space economy. And I think whoever, as I already told you, it's a normal distribution. Whoever has adopters, they have already started investing. They have already started having a pie of the economy that's opening up. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the followers are coming, are starting to invest in it. Yeah, so it's happening. We can see it right now. Yeah?
I'm so happy, Ramesh, that you've brought such a ray of sunshine to the overall situation, because, to be honest, whenever it comes to space tech, deep tech, there is always the conversation of gloom and doom. There's not enough happening. There's not enough fund going through. But let's face it. It is something which is being done quietly. Maybe we are not aware of it. And thank you for giving those kind of insights, because it does give us a sense of positivity. What are your thoughts on, Dr. Kamakoti, Director IIT Madras, was on front page. We had a wonderful conversation with him. And I remember him saying something which I thought was quite brilliant, because the man is brilliant. And IIT Madras is doing a lot of work with deep tech, with space tech, etc. I remember, Ramesh, I spoke to him and he said something which I thought was beautiful. He says, funding has not dried up for good ideas. The ideas which, rise to the top, they will forever get the kind of funding that is required. It's just this conversation about funding not being there for startups in deep tech and space tech is because maybe the ideas are not warranting that kind of funding. Do you agree with that? Do you also agree academia should come into play like IIT Madras is, as far as deep tech and space tech is concerned in the country? Will it help?
Yeah, when it comes to IIT Madras, they are already doing wonderful. They are pioneering, as compared to all the other IITs. If you look at it, two prominent companies like Agnikul and
Oh, yes.
Galaxy have done excellent work so far, and they are still, on their way to big things. We all have seen Galaxy have, put forth the first
Ramesh, Aether, if we talk about deep tech, I mean, that's IIT Madras again, yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you look at other sectors also, right, like AI, like quantum, everywhere they are playing a good role. And even the flying planes, right, the e-plane company, that's
Yes.
a phenomenal one. So they are at the forefront of emerging and future tech, and I'm pretty sure they will do a good job. And different academic institutions are also participating in a bigger way.
So you think
just
that's a
as
good
we-
idea, right?
Yes. So the academic innovation has to be converted into commercialization in the industry scale. So that's what is happening right now. Slowly, people are picking up. I mean, academic institutions are also realizing the power of emerging tech.
Yes.
And especially in space, every year ISRO opens the Respond Basket through which academic institutions can participate. They can come up with innovations, they can submit it, and then ISRO handholds them, and then also they procure
Wonderful.
ones. Right. Similarly, technology transfer is also available for industry sector to take it up and then execute it, both from the academic perspective and also from ISRO's perspective. NSIL, there's a lot of technology transfer. So these are the things that are happening. I think all of us are starting to work together, and in various ways they are all collaborating. So that's the overall take on this.
Which is only going to help and make sure that the system overall blossoms. Which brings me
Yes,
to this
yes.
point.
Yeah.
MOU signed at the Korea-India Space Day event jointly hosted by CASA and InSpace in Bengaluru. Now, what is building a globally competitive space company from India specifically require, Ramesh, that building from, let's say, the United States or Europe does not? We've shed enough light in terms of academia, industry, ecosystem, etc. Now, I'd like to understand the brass tacks of it.
Yeah. So if you look at the existing startups, we think global but act local, right?
Fair.
Yeah. So we are a developing nations with very frugal resources, and we don't have an option except to be creative and then innovate and then come up and then still play in the global arena. Right. So that's exactly what most of the startups are doing. They're very creative. I mean, they're trying a lot of innovative ways in order to play in the global arena. And they're catching up. A lot of interesting startups, they're all catching up. And we are playing, regardless of whatever the innovation is happening across the globe, India has a very crucial part to play in all of them. Not just that we are leading
Nice.
it, then we are contributing quite a good amount of efforts in terms of building the tech itself. So that's why we are recognized all across the globe. So you could have seen the people training the AI with the camera on the head, right? So yeah, so that is one example. So we are literally training. We are the trainers for it. No? So
Nice. I like that.
It's a very important piece in the puzzle, overall puzzle, and overall, we are.
And the world is aware of it, more importantly, Ramesh.
Yes.
And thank you so much for highlighting it.
Yes. And so these are all the crucial services that we cater to the global economy per se. And I think we will continue to do that. Even in the space sector, there are going to be a lot of services. There are already a lot of companies who are doing services. We are exporting a lot, both in aerospace and defense, and we will continue to do that. So no doubts about it. Then it will take some time for us to lead the world, and probably that might happen within the next 20 years. Yeah, it's my limited understanding. I mean, not with the numbers.
I like that.
Being on the field, seeing what's happening around, this is what I expect it to happen, and I'm pretty sure it will happen for sure.
Yeah, we are only sending positive energy to that thought, to be honest, Ramesh. And the fact that what you just talked about in terms of the fact that we are in so many ways almost embedded across the world I feel that then becomes the distinguishing factor, no? For an
Even
Indian
the World
company.
Economic Forum, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, in the World Economic Forum, I think Dr. Ashwin Vaishnav have actually mentioned about the 5 layers in which we are contributing.
Yeah.
So I've seen the clip. So in all the 5 different layers, we are contributing effectively. So
That's the
yeah.
distinguishing factor. Fabulous. India holds today, then given what you and I just discussed, then I believe this should be possible moving forward. India holds 2% of the global space market. That's as on date. The US captured 52% of worldwide private space funding in 2025. Now, according to you, apart from this, what you and I have just established, what specifically else has to take place, Ramesh? In, let's say, for example, I'll throw up a few options for you in policy, capital, talent, and infrastructure for India to maybe close that gap. We're talking about that $44 billion 2033 point target.
Yeah. So from the policy level, India has done a good amount of work by setting up InSpace. They have spun it off, and they are doing an excellent work in terms of easing out a lot of things for us, for the private sector to play. The government cannot take it up all on their own, so private sector has to contribute a lot, and I'm pretty sure that's what we are all doing. The large organizations are already doing their bit, and now with all this funding and support from ISRO in space, startups are also starting to contribute. In terms of infrastructure, yes, we have a good amount of infrastructure with ISRO, and they are sharing it right now. In terms of design, development, and testing, all the 3 angles for the satellites, right? I'm specifically talking about the satellites vertical. They have a good facility in Ahmedabad. We have been there in the InSpace headquarters. Excellent it is, and it's open for all. Apart from that, a lot of institutions have these facilities. It is development and testing facilities also. So these are all good things on an infrastructure level that is open for private industries to use, access it. We don't have to have everything in-house. You can utilize these facilities, and that's precisely what InSpace wants us to do. Use the infrastructure that they have built up, and then execute things at a faster scale. And that everyone is following, including us. We also utilize common infrastructure. We don't have in-house facilities. We utilizing facilities from InSpace, IITs, and apart from that, the governments, the state governments are also coming up with their own manufacturing and testing facilities, which can be used by all the manufacturing industries, not just space sector, right? So these are all good things that have already happened, and it's still
what are the challenges then? These are the good things established. What are the challenges probably which need to be overcome if we have to hit that target?
Right. So I would say that everyone is going through the learning curve. So the government is also learning a lot, and then they are starting to facilitate. And then the second thing is that availability of the talent pool is another key issue. Skilled talent who knows how to do it. If you look at specifically the space sector, almost all the companies, including ours, will have an ex-ISRO veteran who is supporting us, hand-holding us, right? Only they can support us. There is nobody else who will be able to do it. So that the know-how, technical know-how is something which we are all picking up.
Is something which needs to be accelerated.
Yes, it needs to be accelerated so that the pace of growth and the amount of mistakes can be avoided.
Capital infusion? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, capital infusion, as I already told you, right? So it's picking up. I mean, it's not a challenge.
Needs acceleration maybe?
Yeah, you can say that.
For sure. No, I mean, let's call a spade, to be honest, because if you have to hit the target, Ramesh, I think, it makes sense, no? And we're not going ahead and critiquing people. We are just like trying to make sure that we as a country can be right out there, top of the globe kind of a deal. I also would like to ask you one final thought on this bit, which is that you mentioned that the government is also learning, which is a wonderful thing. Then do you feel that the government can also be maybe nimble enough in implementation? Because maybe sometimes that's what tends to happen, right? You learn, but implementation takes some time. Do you think maybe that could also be an area of improvement?
As I told you, it's a new sector that people are
Agreed.
also understand and then do. Even the sector, even the private industry and people like the founders or the management teams, they themselves are trying to understand how things are opening up.
Fair enough.
So only natural that the government is also following the pace, and that's where InSpace is having the industry connect. They regularly take feedbacks. They regularly
Which is
take what
wonderful.
our learnings are. Right? Say for example, when our mission failed in Brazil last year, so there was a inspection report that was jointly released by Brazilian Space Agency and InnoSpace. They took up the investigation and then they released an inspection report. So what has happened is, InSpace actually sat with us, understood what exactly went wrong, where it went wrong. They went through the report. So and then there are learnings that they picked it up from there also. And that was both for us as well as for them. That's a learning curve. We both went through the learning curve. So similarly, the government is also learning a lot, and of course, I mean, managing a small team itself is very difficult, and you understand.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah, the scale at which government operates, right? So obviously, it's natural for them to take it up one step at a time and then execute it in a way. I think we are not in a hurry. We are progressing, and we are progressing at a very slow and steady pace without making a lot of mistakes on the way. I think that's the
Makes sense.
conservative way in which we are going. As like every other Indian mind, we have that mindset, right? So we have a frugal. We have very frugal resources, so we have to be very careful on taking what risk to take and what not to take. So these are the things. These are my thoughts on it. Personally.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Finally, of course, I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
You mentioned Skyroot right at the top, I remember. So I'd like to end there. Second mission planned with Skyroot Aerospace in 2026, validating inter-satellite links and the communications module. Now, after the Skyroot mission, what does the Graha constellation look like in, let's say, the next 3 years?
Okay. So the first mission is obviously about the communication part, which is very crucial. And the next mission would be about our testing our optical payload, and that has to be successful. Once these two are successful, then the third mission will validate both the optical payload as well as the communication module. And I'm pretty sure we have a lot of learnings on the way. As like every other startup, we are also learning quite a bit of things from the way we are doing. And then once we are very sure of these two, then we will start building the constellation. Then it would be more like a mass production.
Fair enough.
The final design has to be freezed, and once that is freezed and it's working fine, then we are good to go. We are good to go for a mass production of constellation. So that's where we are working towards right now. So within the next 3 to 4 years, we are intending to start building the constellation. Maximum
Wonderful.
within the next. Yeah, maximum by 2028 we should be having everything in place, and then we should start building the constellation. And by end of 2030, we should have at least 60 to 70% of the constellation up and running. So that's that's the most optimistic plan we have right now. And of course, as you all know, right? So there are going to be a lot of learnings, especially in the space sector. We are expecting a few things can happen, certain things cannot happen, and there are going to be learnings for us. So yeah, we are open for that, and we are patient enough to do that. So,
love the attitude. Ramesh, I'd like for you to probably give a final message to all the viewers who are watching that they probably should know in terms of where India is headed when it comes to, lightening up the sky.
Okay, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I missed it.
I said your final message to all of the viewers who are watching, which you could leave them with in terms of an aspiration, in terms of where India is headed when it comes to scorching the sky.
Okay, so as I already mentioned, right, so there are a lot of opportunities, especially in the space economy, a lot of opportunities to play around. And there are a lot of challenges and problems to work on, bigger problems. There are not much people who has the know-how to play around. We as Indians are really, really fast learners, and we have the intelligence and the frugal innovation mindset through which we can execute things at a faster pace. So there is a lot of opportunities coming up for everybody to benefit, and the nation also can benefit out of it. So more youngsters should come up and start resolving the problems of the space sector, and they have to see how efficiently they can do it. With very limited resources. So that's one of the key things that we always follow. That is how we have been bootstrapped so far. We have never raised funds
Wonderful.
so far. We are going for the first round of funds right now.
All the best for that.
Thank you so much. So a frugal way of executing is the key mantra for us. And that is how we have come so far without getting any external funds.
Nice.
And so that should be the case. I mean, you should...
Zoho did it well.
Take fast.
That's a wonderful
take fast,
example
learn
to
fast,
have.
and then build fast. Yeah.
Zoho is a wonderful,
Yes.
light to follow when it
Yes,
comes to
it's
that.
a good inspiration for us. Yeah, we cannot execute it as like they have done because it's a sector is different. But yeah, we're trying to be frugal as much as possible, learning from every mistake that we are doing, and then trying to reduce the number of mistakes that we are doing.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Ramesh. This is, of course, wishing you all of the best. And you know what? When I say this to you, it literally applies to you. Onwards and upwards.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for the opportunity, the whole team who had supported this, and also to Dentsu to facilitate this. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, and wishing you all the best. And of course, we're going to bring you back again on Front Page. And thank you so much for that wonderful demonstration.
Thank you so much. Looking forward.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I guess what Greh Space represents in that picture is the generation of founders who understand that getting to orbit once is the proof of concept, and getting to orbit consistently is actually the business. And that's what Greh Space is in the business of. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the EIM Network. Like, share, subscribe. Please do let us know what are your thoughts in the comments below. Think EI, think EIM.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker. And these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
AI prototypes are everywhere, but very few professionals know how to deploy AI where businesses actually operate. Introducing the Certified Forward Deployed AI Specialist by Adasi, a certification designed for the new generation of AI professionals who can bridge technology, deployment, operations, and business execution in real-world enterprise environments. Because modern AI success is no longer just building models. It's about making AI work inside production systems, customer workflows, and enterprise operations. The future belongs to engineers who can take AI from demo to deployment. This certification is ideal for AI engineers, solutions architects, technical consultants, Gen AI practitioners, developers who want to move beyond experimentation and deploy AI systems that create measurable business impact. The future of AI belongs to professionals who can take intelligence from concept to real-world execution.
There are a lot of models available on Amazon. You can use any model. For this particular workshop, I'll go with Llama 3. It's the simplest, easiest, and in terms of cost, no problem. But yes, if you are an organization, you want to go and work, you can use Anthropic's Claude model. You can use any of these models. So this is the 2ML file. And what you need, all of you, is you can see there is a Docker file also created. There is a Pi project created. There is requirement, and this is the environment. So this is the app where you have a Pi cache. So this is your cache. Init.py will not have anything, that is for initialization. This is your actual agent script. And then here you have got a README, which you can use automatically running in Docker, and these things come automatically. You can click on data store. You can click on the tool name. So this is tool 1. It's a data store. You can give the description. Now I'm going with the lowest score in terms of grounding. So we have low confidence that the response is grounded.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. I'm Antara and you're watching Point Break. A few weeks ago, Anthropic's Claude Mythos 5, a model which is capable of exploiting and identifying software vulnerabilities more effectively than almost any human security expert, was temporarily restricted by the US government. Access since then has, of course, been restored. But the episode revealed something much bigger. Because for the first time, governments were debating not just how powerful an AI model is, but who should really be allowed to use it in the first place. Because the same AI that strengthens cyber defense can be used to undermine it. And that debate lands directly in India's lap. Because just last month, MeitY empaneled 6 companies to deploy AI across government departments. India is entering the deployment phase of its AI journey. And according to the RBI's latest financial stability report, AI-enabled cyber threats are now the single biggest risk facing banks and financial institutions over the next 12 months. AI, in fact, is already sitting on both the sides of the battlefield. Banks are deploying it for fraud detection and risk monitoring. Attackers are using it to clone voices, generate phishing campaigns, create synthetic identities, and automate reconnaissance at a scale and speed that no human team can possibly match. UPI processes billions of transactions every month. The attack surface has never been larger. So the question really is that are we entering the first true AI cyber arms race? And will the future of cybersecurity depend not just on who has the best security team, but who has access to the most capable AI? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the question that we are going to be asking today. I'm Antara, this is Point Break. Let's get right into it. My guests today bring exactly the combination this conversation needs: deep operational experience on the ground and governance expertise at the system level. Yogesh Thange is the CEO and cybersecurity consultant at Shellstroke. With 17 plus years in cybersecurity, digital forensics, incident response and cyber law, he has in fact personally consulted on over 15,000 crime investigations for law enforcement agencies and over 2,500 cybersecurity incidents for private organizations. He in fact has also trained more than 35,000 government officers and 7,500 IT professionals. Yogesh, it's an absolute pleasure to host you here on Point Break. And second guest today with me is Ashutosh Singh, who is the co-founder and CEO of RevRag AI, a technology leader with over 20 years of experience spanning AI governance, cloud transformation, DevSecOps, and enterprise security as well. He has in fact directed over $100 million in enterprise transformation programs and writes extensively on AI governance, risk, and audit frameworks. Ashutosh, it's really good to have you here with us.
Likewise.
Gentlemen, in fact,
so much for
today, I want to talk about the cybersecurity risk and, how it is really spanning out. Because the RBI's framing in its latest financial stability report is deliberate. I would say it's also significant. Because the Central Bank of India is saying that, AI-enabled cyber threats are now a financial stability concern. I would say that is a different category entirely, because traditionally cyber attacks were viewed as an IT problem, right? Today, the RBI is saying that a successful attack can affect payment systems, it can affect customer trust, it can affect financial markets, and in general, the broader economic activity. So in a country where, UPI processes billions of transactions and digital finance underpins daily commerce, cyber resilience is, I would say, increasingly a macroeconomic issue. Yogesh, my first question is to you. You have consulted on over 15,000 crime investigations and I believe 2,500 cybersecurity incidents. So what I want to know from you is, in your experience on the ground, has the nature of the threat, actually changed with AI, or would you say it's the same threat just moving faster?
No, I've seen quite a tragic change in the way the cyber attackers are coming up. I believe user of any tech for that sake, the user as well as abuser of any tech are the threat actors. And I can experience that with a lot of incidents that we are responding to, either with the corporates or with the law enforcement. They have started using AI much before that a common person has done ever. And also to a level that organizations are trying to adopt themselves to use this new tech to enhance their capabilities. So yes, I believe that they have already gone to a good extent of using AI in their cyber attacks and having it more sophisticated, more realistic. Okay. And, they are, unlike we are discussing about Mythos, which is capable of doing vulnerability assessment. This is something which we already, know that there is something which has been built to test the vulnerabilities of existing softwares. We have also come across different types of LLM models which has been used, trained by cyber attackers, and they are already little ahead than most of the, I will say, investigation agencies across the globe. So yes, the thing, unlike I will just repeat, it's first user and abuser are attackers, and I can see that shift in their attack style.
Understood. Thank you for answering that. Ashutosh, my next question is to you. The RBI has made a specific framing shift from operational risk to financial stability risk, right? From a governance and audit standpoint, what does that shift actually require organizations to do differently? Because I believe those two risk categories demand, very different responses by themselves.
No, I think you rightly said, first of all, coming from the background, that now it is not just at the IT level, right? Actually, AI is being used across the organization if it comes to BFSI, right? It is being used in, let's say, in onboarding, payments, fraud detection, lending, customer support, collections, all of it, right? So if, let's say, AI is becoming the center, then the guardrails need also be very, very centralized, right? There needs to be an observation layer, there needs to be an audit layer, there needs to be much more going into what actually is required to go in a production environment, right? Everybody is excited about AI, but they are forgetting that you can deploy faster, but having AI governance in place requires a lot more commitment than it seems, right? And being a banker, their first job is to basically have every inch, every bit of governance that is required in a banking system. And that's why RBI, which is trying to basically control all of it together so that there's no financial instability that is occurring because of these minor issues. And if see, BFSI is all about trust, right? If there is any big thing that might happen in a bank, that will impact all the other bank as well, right? So I think that it is a very good step to at least go about and acknowledging that yes, there is a risk, and everybody should basically participate in having that governance around it.
Absolutely, Ashutosh. Thank you for that. And this is a question that I want to ask to the both of you. Could a major AI-enabled cyber attack create systematic financial disruptions in India? And also, are banks still treating this as, a technology problem when it's actually, I would say, almost like a business risk and potentially a national risk as well?
Yes, I'll take this first.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, banks looking at this particular thing very negatively. Like definitely, like AI is again a tool. It's one of it. There are a lot of other technologies around that. Yes, because of an AI, the execution speed has gone faster for everyone. The way banks look at it is like how they are trying to adopt it and use it for their own benefits. At the same time, they need to understand the other actors would be also adopting that and going to use against them. Now, AI and cybersecurity are two different aspects altogether. What I've seen with banks, in most of them, like I've been working majorly with UCBs because I am also working with RBI on that part. Compliance, which RBI has set to raise their resilience level, is actually a very a commendable one. They have been continuously asking them to do many things on the part of building their resilience. But are they actually willing to do it on their own, or it is because someone has made it as in compliance to it? Now the days are gone where you just look it because we need to have a certain compliance in place and get the things going, and that's why we are doing it, rather than being more serious. And it is now coming to their survival aspect. Unlike Ashutosh has clearly mentioned, it is all about trust. Imagine the bank where you have and your account is under cyber siege, and let's say even the bank is losing money. At the end of the day, RBI circular says if it is a bank's fault, then bank will pay. But at it is again the cost of that goes to their reputational losses and financial losses, both of it. And that's why I believe that the banking sector should not treat this as just to do because for the sake of doing it, rather than using an AI to build more resilience, because the other party is also using an AI. So the execution, what I've seen as transformation, the thing that it used to take a good amount of time before, now because of an AI, it can be done more faster, more better, and cheaper also. Similarly, on the part of they building their own resilience, they should be using it, and also not only doing, and like I will repeat, not only for the sake of doing it, because there is a compliance put by an RBI or RBI is coming after them, they should get awake on their own and start marching towards it consciously.
Right. Ashutosh, your take on it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it Yogesh has already covered, but I'll just give a small review to it, right? We all know what is crypto, right? So we've seen a lot of attacks that has happened in crypto, right?
Yeah.
And there is no central team which is actually regulating it. It is all public ledger, right? So if anything breaks, it breaks the trust of overall public, right? But in India, RBI has played a very significant role in actually helping us get through all those basically economic crises that would have been there, right, in 2008 and multiple attempts, right? I think AI is kind of electricity. It will be used as electricity in every nook and corner.
Yes.
As you know, we have departments to handle all of that, right? We have departments to take care that if, let's say, somebody is getting electrocuted, how to basically maintain it, right? So banks also need to be very, very vigilant about that, how they are going to implement AI, right? And that too, not internally, externally as well, right? They have to communicate to their customer as well that how we are actually consuming AI.
Right. Understood. Thank you for that, Yogesh and Ashutosh. In fact, I want to steer the conversation a little bit here, and I want to talk about that mythos moment, right? When the Mythos 5 episode was, I believe, perhaps the first major example of, a government intervening around access to a frontier AI model, specifically because of its cyber capabilities. Now, this was a debate about whether an AI model was too capable at finding and exploiting software vulnerabilities to be widely accessible. Because for the first time, access to an AI model became, a national security question. In the same way that, semiconductor exports or say satellite technology have historically been regulated. And Ashutosh, my next question is to you here. Would you say that the Mythos episode a preview, of how governments will regulate frontier AI going forward? And also from an AI governance standpoint, are cyber capable AI models now effectively strategic assets that need to be treated like semiconductors or, dual use technology?
I think this has happened to India many a times, right? When nuclear happened, they tried, like every other country tried, that nuclear power should not be going to all of these countries, right? We have tried doing multiple attempts to basically innovate in-house and then basically do it, right? I think it has come to that now. And that is very, very evident if US government is actually coming in and basically saying to a private entity that you can't basically open up your powerful model to other countries. This is a statement in itself, right? So I think every government now needs to basically think about that. Yes, it is a race. In the Apollo days, when there was, let's say, rockets, today we have models, right? And when there are attacks being done on, let's say, an Anthropic by Alibaba to distill all of their data, then it is actually a very crucial race that has already begun, right? We are just witnessing it and trying to basically be a part of it and trying to see if we can make sense of it and basically be prepared from our angle as well, right? So I think it is a very crucial race that has already begun, and Indian government needs to basically prepare themselves as well, and we have proven ourselves in many other races that has
certainly
been done, right?
Certainly, Ashutosh. Yogesh, here is the paradox, right, at the heart of this. Restricting access to a model like Mythos 5 slows down defenders who need it to find vulnerabilities before the attackers do, right? But opening access risks putting the same capability in the hand of threat actors. So from your experience in cyber forensics and, incident response, which side of that argument worries you more?
While they are trying to restrict the access, is it actually been restricted or not? That is worrying me a lot. How much real is that? And you are now just focusing on one particular thing which is there out, and it has been said that it will do the better vulnerability detection even for an existing software. What about the other ones? That, like, you are just focusing on one thing. Okay, and you feel that is the only thing. If we can delay it, and probably we may delay the attack first. What about the things which is not yet known? The real power of an AI is still unknown to most of them, even the one who have created that.
Correct.
So I believe like Mythos is one part. I'll say just the tip of the iceberg. I believe, like from the security perspective, there are like we work on 0 days and a lot of things. No, AI is actually helping us also, like in the point of investigations and as well as finding of vulnerabilities and patching that up. 0 days and something new is coming up every other time where while we take an assistance from an AI does the things faster. But I believe that the most worried part here would be like something which we have ignored so far.
Okay.
Now we are thinking more about cybersecurity because there is something which will exploit it at higher rate.
Yeah.
What about you have not done? Even at the, there are a lot of, benchmarking out there. There are a lot of standards out there for which the compliance is one part of it. And second is how much seriously people are taking security. Like for every organization I interact with, not only from BFSI sector, I generally curious to know what are you doing for cybersecurity. And if you ask me, the digital attack surface has increased like anything.
Yeah.
Even for the banking, while they have gone into the digital transformation and I will say there are still many banks still under digital transformation. Imagine they need to secure themselves. We first look at the functional aspect of anything, that how it could be functional, how it would benefit you. But at the same time, it is increasing attack surfaces. And while the threat you might feel at the door, it is already inside that. Like while I'm addressing a lot of incidents nowadays, we can see there are new signature malwares. The different attack methodologies, use of not only email but also voices while trying to do successful phishing attacks.
Correct.
And it is not like we are watching this recently. We are like experiencing this, especially while working with law enforcement. You get little edge over corporate incidents. You can see the danger little ahead than the other ones. I believe that they have already exploited it to a very good extent. Mythos is just one thing that we are worried about. I believe there are more things which are still under the.
Could you give us an example, Yogesh?
So, example like recently we were investigating one of the an attack on a company and on their financial team actually. And what we have seen that the threat actor was already exploited that particular company almost 7 months before, and they were just sitting on their system and watching it out, while the company already had done a good amount of you can say they have done their security testings and they have good XDR and EDR solutions, firewalls. You can say reasonable amount of security they had done. Still, the attacker can get it through with the help of new malware, fileless malware, the polymorphic malware they had used to get into it, spread across the organization, learn entire how exactly the financial transactions have been done. And then they have executed their attack on a system that financial guy used to upload that statement to bank every day for a certain amount of transactions. And they have modified the figures in that particular statements with the help of high-tech, I will say, different tools that they have used. And then they were curious to know that first of all, they were doubting their own financial guy that he might have done certain changes into the Excel which they generally upload to the bank. But later it has been revealed that they have used a PowerShell script and also the hidden one, and they knew exactly at what moment they should have done that. So they are coming properly planned, organized, having a new malware. So your current XDR, EDR solutions won't, because they work on signature level detection. They won't realize that. And then they are so thankfully it got, the bank was in a little transaction monitoring system of banks are really good nowadays. So they called up and said that, we can see a different type of transactions and will you validate, and then they get it has actually stopped. But what I believe here, the way the sophisticated attack the attacker has done here, and they were actually waiting for that particular moment for almost 6 months. So we have traced it back till it has happened somewhere in the month of December last year, 2025, and we have seen the first entry into the system in the April 2025. So likewise, they are coming very sophisticated
That
way.
dedication by itself is
Also,
scary.
like using an AI to create new softwares. Like, nowadays anybody can create a software, a basic software. They are using a new signatures altogether. Then they know how exactly the EDI solution or other things are in place, how they exactly works, and how they can bypass it out. So likewise, again, what I want to point it out, reasonable is not enough now. Again, you are doing something reasonable is not enough. You have to be very serious about it. You have to ask yourself, you have to actually get it tested with the help of an AI and properly expert people to understand where you stand in terms of cyber resilience. And then only it will help you out to be stronger than others. So they will probably attack you, get demotivated and move to others. Something like that. A survival of the fittest.
But the fact that they are getting innovative with every incident is also the scary part. Right.
Yes, they are learning like anything. I think, for them, learning is their more bread and butter. In order to survive, have a new attack, they are learning every
absolute nightmare.
I've said for every tech I have seen.
Yes.
Even for any new tech which will be there out there in the market, we can see that it has already been abused by the attackers.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Yogesh. And again, this is a question for the both of you. Would you say that access to frontier cyber AI be regulated differently from general purpose AI? And also, could restrictions on access unintentionally, sort of slow down defenders more than they slow down attackers? I mean, who may already, have an access through, say, other means, like you were just pointing out?
Right. I think I can go ahead. So whenever there is a new type of technology, there is always a thought process that this technology might get overhand, right? And as everybody knows that if it is a powerful technology, then we need to have guardrails in order to basically use it, right? But the point of view of basically guarding it too much will also slow down the innovation probably from the new, like companies like us, right? We are actually dependent on these models to basically use them and then innovate in a way, right? Yes, we are actually deploying application layer on top of it, right? We are actually building platforms on top of it, right? And there are not just one or two startups we are talking about. There are many startups, plus these models are being used by multiple other enterprises to basically build multiple software, so on and so forth. So yes, there is a vulnerability, right? There is a problem. There are attackers. There are problems that are there. But still, the big picture is also truly beautiful, right? Because we can actually build a lot of good stuff into this world, right? So I think, yes, we need to have an army of defenders. We need to have an army of basically good people who are surrounding and guardrailing it. But we also need to understand that there is innovation that is always required by these type of technology, right? So the thought process should be that how can we basically maintain it in such a way that innovators are not getting impacted, right? I think that and a lot of governments in usage of these type of technologies have already come up with a model, right? From US to even in Europe, there are countries who are already implementing how basically we can use AI, right? And these frontier labs. And there is sovereign part to it as well, right? So there are companies who are trying to develop these frontier model for their own countries. Like we have seen Poland has invested in 11 labs, right? Similarly, India has invested in Servam. Now we have already got the news that US government is investing in OpenAI, right? So I think they've chosen their own players. Now what we need to understand is that how we can guardrail it internally and then even innovate on top of it and then sell it to other countries as well, right? So that we are also able to export it outside and even use it internally in the country as well, because that's how the economy will grow, right? This is a new technology and which can actually highly increase the usage overall in the economy, right? And basically can help us grow from other aspect. And India has been there in the application layer building part of it as well, right? So we are the people who have been able to build all of these application layer systems, right? And we have built it for the world from here. So I think we need to basically have those frontier models to basically innovate on top of it.
But the walls at the same time need to be high enough to, thwart any sort of threat actors that might be there.
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
I second that to what Ashutosh has just said.
Yes.
We really need these AI things. That will speed up. Now again, if you ask us, we are not ready for facing even the normal attacks which are not AI built. So AI will help us build that resilience faster. That is the need of an hour. Now, if you restrict the access to an AI to certain things, rules and regulation, otherwise, same thing. Like it will also delay your resilience part of it. And meanwhile, you can restrict it to certain people. What about those who are nowhere around restrictions, like something on darknet, if they release like that? So I believe, again, second, what Ashutosh has said, has to be, used and, made available in a proper way to every businesses out there, every industries out there. So it can be used in a better, because I always believe there are more better people compared to threat actors. There are comparatively less working in this industry of investigation, at least. So we should look at from more optimistic point of view.
Okay. I also want to talk about the RBI report here. The report identifies something, I believe, that should concern everybody who's listening to this, because AI is sitting on both the sides of the battlefield simultaneously. Banks are, like you were pointing out, banks are deploying AI for fraud detection. They are deploying AI for risk monitoring. They are deploying AI for compliance operations and, of course, customer service. Those are legitimate, those are valuable use cases. But at the same time, attackers are also using AI to, generate highly targeted phishing campaigns at scale, create synthetic identities, clone voices for social engineering, and of course launch attacks that are increasingly difficult to distinguish from legitimate activity. So this is not a sequential arms race where, defense builds something and the offense response. Both the sides are being upgraded at the same time, using many of the same tools. So Yogesh, my question was to you. You have trained over, I believe, 35,000 government officers on cybersecurity. Now, in your direct experience, are the threat actors using artificial intelligence more effectively right now than the defenders? And what do you have to say? Who is actually, ahead in this race on the ground?
Yes. So, this is a discussion almost every training session I have with the officers out there.
I can imagine.
I always urge them, I tell them very clearly, you are not even using 10% of tech. Not only AI, the tech altogether.
Right.
In your daily routine, in investigations, in many places. Okay. We are still undergoing digital transformation is the more worried part for me. And while they are not using a tech to a level that attackers are using, they are always behind them. They need to be really serious about using tech and AI, which is a recent one. But the way the attackers have used and exploited it, they are much more ahead. There is a huge, substantial gap, I will say. Okay. And that is a more alarming thing here. Government need to also focus that how they can be, a tech-savvy departments, or, their departments should be completely tech. I've seen a lot of experienced people in government departments still struggling to use a basic tech that is available out there. Imagine those who are been joining as a freshers are in a better position to use tech, but they are less experienced. So that is something, something which is really worried from national security perspective, also the security posture that we are trying to build. We are supposed to build a good security to invite many businesses to India. Okay. Also to have a good environment for who are running their businesses from India, and in that, in addressing all those things, the law enforcement plays a very vital role here. Not only in terms of investigation, but also in terms of having those things safeguarded. And unlike you have asked, and it is a reality that we are supposed, we need to use this technology a lot. There should be some regulations being put across the government only, that the use of technology should be increased, and eventually they would reach to a level nearby, I will say, the attacker using tech.
Okay. Thank you for that clarity. Ashutosh, from an AI governance and audit perspective, organizations are now being asked to deploy AI for security operations while simultaneously defending against AI-powered attacks. How do you govern a security stack where the offensive and the defensive tools are increasingly using the same technology?
Right. I think, banks are aware that there are nuances that are coming to them. There are frauds. They have been working on mule accounts for a while now, right? There are fraud detections, and enterprises, even government enterprises like NPCI, see huge number of frauds, huge number of cyber attacks on a daily basis, right? So when it comes to AI, what is required is that every step of the way there is explainability, right? There is auditability. There is observation, live monitoring system that can actually detect those nuances that are happening, those frauds that are happening live in the overall. So as Yogesh rightly pointed out earlier, that whenever basically somebody is implementing AI, they also need to think about how basically it will be observed or monitored in the production environment. It is not just that you deploy the AI and just forget about it, and your numbers are increasing, your things are doing well, but it does. But you're not worried about the attacks that might come in, right? You're not prepared for all of those things. And as Yogesh earlier also pointed out, that it is not just you need to be compliant from multiple angles now. It is like gone are the days when you were just doing the VAPT and all of those things. Gone are the days, right? We need to be prepared much deeper into that, and there has been a lot of incidents overall in AI, right? There are resource hijacking that has been done, right? We saw it with McDonald's, that their chatbot was actually answering the Python script to a lot of their users, right? And they saw that, okay, resource hijacking was being done. So the attacks will be in multiple shape and form, right? And that is what actually is exciting for all the other people who are actually the defenders, right? Who, if it was a boring job, it would have been like solved immediately, but it is not a boring job. You'll get multiple new type of nuances, new type of attacks on a daily basis, right? It is a super man type of a now job that you need to get.
I can imagine.
Innovative as your attackers are, right? And from the perspective, now every banker or every fintech or NBFC need to think from a thought process of that there are checklist of things that they need to do, right? It is not just about deployment. It is not just about conversion. It is not just about revenue.
Right.
Because they are in a business of trust. They are in a business of basically governance of sort. So they need to think about AI governance from day one while they are actually interacting with any vendor out there.
Understood. Thank you for that clarity. India is, I would say, actively investing in artificial intelligence at scale. There is the India AI mission, of course, which is underway. MeitY has, of course, empaneled 6 companies to deploy artificial intelligence across government departments. The Finance Ministry is actively discussing AI's applications for financial services. Banks, of course, as we were just speaking about it, are adopting AI across fraud detection, customer service, risk monitoring, and compliance. But there is a gap that, the RBI report makes explicit. AI adoption and AI preparedness, they are not moving at the same pace. The report reveals that, many of these institutions still classify themselves as being in the developing, or I would say the intermediate stages of AI threat preparedness. That by itself, I think, is a significant gap, and it is the gap between what India is building and what India can defend. So Ashutosh, you work on AI governance, right? When you audit an organization's AI deployment, what are the most common preparedness gaps that you find? And specifically in financial services, would you say that the banks are treating every AI deployment as a cyber risk decision, or is security still being bolted on after that fact? Ashutosh, can you hear me?
He's muted.
Yeah. So basically, what we do with the NBFCs and BFSI overall, right, is we deploy agents, right, into their environment, into their digital environment, all of that, right. And when we do so, every agent that we deploy needs to have a maker checker type of an outlook, right? There can't be that basically that you are deploying your agents and you are not able to basically check what they are doing, right? You're not able to understand what they're doing in the production environment, right? And the thing is that for fintechs, like small fintechs, for mid-size and small fintechs, yes, they are more excited about deploying it rather than basically actually governing it, right? But for banks, there's no other option than that, right? You have to basically have it governed, or you have to monitor. You need to have audit trails from day one, right? And there is hard infosec that happens before even onboarding a vendor, right? Before even going live in banking environment. It is not easy to even get into a bank for any vendor, right? There is infosec, there is technology, architectural review, there is lot of back and forth that happens, right? So I sell to BFSI, so I understand how hard it is to basically get into that system, right? So banks are aware. It's what is happening is even vendors are not ready to basically do all of it in one go, right? Because the preparedness is also not there on the vendor end, right? And also from the awareness point of view, some of the basically actors who are actually implementing it, let's say, doesn't know how to implement it, right? It is not a SaaS product that you can just implement it and basically you're done. It is AI hallucinates, AI is probabilistic, AI is not deterministic. So you have to put a lot of guardrails around it, a lot of governance around it, a lot of other things, right? So and even implementation takes a lot of time, because every bank has a different use case, every bank has a different thought process. So you need to implement it very basically going into very, very detailed custom thing. So every custom thing requires custom governance as well, right? So I think preparedness is not there from both the ends, from vendor point of view to even let's say consumer point of view, right? So I think and this will take time, right? It is not there even in US, right? We work with US clients as well. We have done multiple interactions there as well. So it is not there in everybody's learning, what I would say, right? Even anthropics of the world are also learning, right? So I think the probabilistic nature of AI actually is the thing that we need to tame on. And with that harness that everybody is trying to build, we have to harness it in such a way that it is able to, basically you are able to monitor, you are able to audit, you are able to understand the and explain it, basically.
Certainly, Ashutosh. Yogesh, you are a resource person to RBI's own training institutions. What is the gap that you observe between what regulators understand about AI-enabled threats and, what the institutions they regulate are actually doing about it in the first place?
Yeah, like I have been in discussion with all the participants from different banks at RBI's institute. I am keen on knowing that what exactly they are doing when it comes to cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And unlike Ashutosh has pointed that out, a third-party risk that we call. Okay, your bank is secure. Okay, you have done all the things which has been asked by RBI to do it. What about the vendors who are bringing that risk from their end to you? Are they also secured like you? Are you keeping that same mandate? You are not having that mandate for the vendors, right? So I have seen that gap. I also asked them, okay, if they are, let's say, they have hired someone for application security.
Okay.
Are they also asking that particular company, are you doing reasonable security practices? Can you produce your audit reports of your information security audits of your own company? Who is doing an application security testing for the banks? And the answer to that, like, there was entirely quiet classroom, that no one says that, okay, we have ever asked our cybersecurity service provider, whoever, because a lot of banks can't do their own cybersecurity. They have to rely on vendors again.
Third party.
Again, I have seen every organization have a different types of vendor. And what we have seen, a third party risk is always higher from those ends.
Absolutely.
While I'm discussing with them, trying to understand what they are doing, RBI is coming really, serious on the part of they implementing cybersecurity, and there will not be any incident, because we have seen one incident from Pune-based UCB, and it has been compromised, and they have lost a lot of money in that particular heist. They don't want any such incident again to lose the trust factor which they are trying to build in. While I try to interact with the officials of RBI, they want more and more digital transactions. They don't want to curtail down the speed of digital transaction. They want to happen it at higher scale, higher speed, and with a huge amount of trust. But again, higher is the convenience, less is the security. When it comes to the basic pillars of cybersecurity, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Availability is a very important factor. If it is available for me as a user at higher speed, definitely it will be available for an attacker at higher speed, and that's why you can see the amount that people are losing. Like, because customers are also, I can see the customers currently is the weakest part in the entire ecosystem of BFSI. Customers are the weakest because they haven't adopted the security. The bank has been doing it. And that's why you can see there are more targeted attacks now at the customer end. Prior to that, it was more targeted attacks on the infrastructure of these companies. They have built some resilience. But again, that resilience, if you ask me in terms of AI, now that is not adequate. Okay. So there are a lot of ways, and when it comes to defense, people who are into defense, I'll tell you, it is more challenging than attacking. Attacker requires only one door to enter, where the defense has to guard all the doors.
Absolutely.
And that's why it is a more challenging aspect. One mistake is enough for an attacker to exploit. And that is how it is becoming more and more challenging. But at the same time, I want to give some little optimism into this particular thing. AI is helping it a lot. While I'm serious about each and every aspect, probably if I'm, let's say, missing one aspect of cybersecurity, which Ashutosh has rightly pointed out, that saying that, you have to take care of many things. It's not only one thing you have to take care of. AI is helping me. Okay, you have missed this part. You need to do certain things here as well. And that would actually build a resilience much faster than before, with the help of with the help of an AI being used by these things. But again, there are a lot of things they need to address, not only the cyber security, but also the other aspects. So I think the AI would definitely help them out in a better way when it comes to defense capabilities.
Absolutely, Yogesh. In fact, you very correctly pointed out, when you keep, attackers on one side and defenders on the other, the defenders have to get it right every single time. The attackers just have to get it right once, right? And, keeping that in mind, would you say that, we need AI stress tests for critical financial institutions, the way the RBI runs traditional stress tests for capital adequacy, and also what should an AI resilient bank actually look like as per you by 2030?
I believe the AI resilient bank would look like where it is having a proper tech. Not only they should have have a tech in each and every aspect of their functionality everywhere, and then only the AI integration can come in place, and probably then we can see an AI defense mechanism also in place. Even now there are a lot of operations which are not tech driven,
right,
in BFSI. They are still, again, a lot of them are still adopting technology. Why we are little behind than these developed countries? Because again, we are still not having an entire proper digital transformation. People are still relying on many traditional mechanisms. Whereas, yes, definitely RBI, and like I've discussed with you, they are pushing people, every stakeholder of this entire ecosystem to get digitalized. So there will be more transparency, accountability, and also convenience. But at the same time, if you ask me, even now there are a lot of operations still non-tech. And if they don't have a tech involved, and eventually, because AI cannot sit directly on your traditional things, you have to have a tech first, other tech, and then you can sit AI on that particular top of that particular tech. So by 2030, I believe that the banking operations has to be completely digitalized, and then if the AI is involved properly into every digitalization, then it will have a better posture by 2030, and they will be in a better position to defend all the new type of cyber attacks also coming in their way. Because now the digitalization is over. Now only you are looking more over on the part of how you will build your resilience. Now they have to do both things, and that is something to worry about. And that's why I think 2030, I think again with an AI, I am optimistic that they could build it. The digital transformation could be finished earlier than expected, and also then they would be ready for future attacks.
Right. Thank you, Yogesh, for answering that. What I also want to talk about here is the supply chain. I believe one of the most important and underreported findings in the RBI's financial stability report is about dependency. Most financial institutions, they rely heavily on like you were talking about it. They rely on third-party vendors for cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity monitoring, threat intelligence, incident response, critical software. As AI becomes embedded across all of these layers, concentration risk increases dramatically. Right, the next major cyber event may not even begin at a bank, for that matter. It may begin at a supplier. It could begin at a cloud provider, a threat intelligence vendor, a software company, even whose product sits inside the bank's security stack. And when AI is sort of woven through that entire supply chain, the attack surfaces, I believe, no longer the bank's perimeter. It is the entire ecosystem. Ashutosh, from a governance standpoint, how do you think should banks evaluate AI risks across their entire vendor ecosystem and not just their own internal deployments? Would you say that existing third-party risk frameworks sufficient for an AI era supply chain, or you feel that we need something fundamentally different here?
I think what I see from my perspective is that there are two layers to it.
Okay.
One is the regulator layer, meaning the RBI. So as of now, what happens is that the regulator layer, meaning RBI or IRDA or a SEBI, right? These are the organizations which actually direct from the the regulation point of view, right? They sometimes even go and audit these companies from financial point of view. They even go and audit these companies from risk point of view, right? So now there needs to be a framework for AI regulation within those organization point of view as well, right? So there should be an audit from AI security, from AI regulation point of view for the safety of that bank or a regulated entity first. And I think then comes the second piece, meaning if let's say we agree that if a bank is being regulated, they are able to withhold all of the regulation that RBI put together for AI regulation for them, then they also need to ask their vendor, and as you rightly asked the question, that yes, the attack can come from the vendor part of it as well, which is a very, I think it is more highly likely. As Yogesh was saying, that today most of the frauds are actually coming from the consumer point of view, right? The consumer of banks. Now, who are these vendors actually implementing inside those banks, right? They are more risk oriented, right? Because they are not yet ready, and most of them are startup like us, who might not be able to afford all of it from day one, right? So for a banker, for a highly regulated environment, you can't let a newcomer come in without a VAPT or without all of those things. You can't actually, yes, innovation is absolutely necessary to basically grow, but you also need to basically understand that every other vendor can't be let in if they don't have proper treatment to it, right? And when I say treatment, it is not just from the perspective of that they have, let's say, an ISO certification or a SOC 2 certification. There are other things as well that also need to be taken, right? The questions that these BFSI needs to ask is, let's say, vendor should explain that where are these decisions being taken, right? Is it your environment? Is it your frontier lab that you're working with? Are you going to deploy inside or outside? Or even isolate customer data? Because see, for BFSI, customer data is really very important, right? Whether it is isolated or not, all of these questions needs to be asked while the vendor is being evaluated. And I think as of now, what I have seen being evaluated multiple times, I think we have been evaluated by 30 plus BFSI, right? So we have seen all that process, but I still believe that there needs to be more that can be done from AI governance point of view, from AI observability point of view. I think that is something that is still missing, and that needs to be in place by even vendors that are getting in within those banks, right? So I think, that should be the questions that BFSI needs to ask.
Certainly, Ashutosh. Yogesh, you have investigated cyber incidents across public and private sector organizations. Have you seen supply chain attacks in the Indian context that exploited a vendor dependency rather than directly targeting the institution? And also, how does AI change that attack vendor?
Okay, so yes, it is like third-party risk, like I have told you. As an attacker, while I am at defense, we also need to think like an attacker in order to defeat an attacker. And while we are trying to find the weakest link, unlike consumer, after consumer, the weakest link is the third-party vendors, right? Rightly pointed out by Ashutosh. A simple question, unlike I have asked them, that are you also asking the compliance report from your VAPT auditor? And absolutely no one is asking for it. So the thing is, I have seen many times that these third-party vendors bring that risks to the organizations. Though it is in the RBI mandate that RBI can also audit your vendors. Okay, the way RBI are auditing the banks or other sectors for the whether they are doing compliance as per their regulations or not, there is also provision that they can audit the third-party vendors also. And there are also criteria set for the vendors. But what about those vendors sub-vendoring someone else? I also seen that, okay, the vendor is compliant enough, but he's not doing that job because his hands are very much full. He's subvending to someone else. Only the face is that. And the risk actually comes from that end. Another things which I feel that very, something to worry about, that while we use this AI, are we also worried about how we are, what about our data, which Ashutosh has also, little insights on that. Our data has also been being taken like outside the Indian boundaries. Okay.
Right.
While we use these AIs from different countries altogether. Do we have our own data centers? Do we have our own AI? Are we keeping all that data here? Now, while you are talking about these vendors, what about the vendors who are having these AI and supplying these AIs to the banks? Right? And they are actually consuming the data I believe India stands at a very leadership position in terms of market as well as an information. We are almost 15 to 17% of entire population, right, of the globe. Now we are standing and we are having a biggest market. Also, the amount of information being generated. Imagine why these AI vendors are giving it free to each and every individuals, while their data centers are burning like anything. They are optimizing their data centers for more and more users because they are data hungry. The AI is a data hungry thing. It will increase its capacity, the amount of data that we feed to it. But what happens to our confidential information? What about our other information? While AI sits in your organizational ecosystem, the amount of access that AI will have to your data, are you willing to go that access outside your organization through, again, that's why, the third party risk is coming, I can see, coming in from the AI itself, right? So there is a high time that either we should have our own Indian AI, solutions, or having an offline model that every bank will train themselves and use it inside. So the exposure to that particular data and the risk will get mitigated to some extent.
Certainly. The RBI report also reveals a pattern that is familiar from every major technology transition, which is technology scales first. Governance catches up later. Now, most institutions surveyed classify themselves as either a developing or intermediate in AI threat preparedness. Meanwhile, AI capabilities continue advancing rapidly. Now, the concern is whether financial institutions can, even afford that lag in the first place. Because in cybersecurity, the cost of being unprepared is not gradual. It is very sudden. It's also systematic and, of course, potentially irreversible. Ashutosh, you specialize in AI governance, and you've also written about the Gartner AI Tourism Framework and the ISO 4201. What metrics do you believe should boards be tracking beyond cybersecurity spend? And also, do you feel like AI governance should now be a board level responsibility in every financial institutions for that matter?
I think, when AI came in, I think last year, they're like mostly in 2025, every board was actually discussing how can we implement AI, right? So whenever we were having a discussion from any BFSI, from a leader perspective to even middle management perspective to senior perspective, the thought process was that how can we implement AI and where all it can be implemented. That was the thought process now, right? Now that pilots are going to production and production is getting to scale, everybody is now understanding that there are threats of AI being hallucinating, AI actors being used in a different manner, right? There can be cyber attacks on AI, there can be resource hijacking, there are n number of things that can happen, right? So yes, I think we are already seeing that there are a lot of board members, there are a lot of senior leaders already discussing and implementing these type of solutions. They are very, very vigilant about picking up on, because they don't want to stop the adoption of AI into their ecosystem, right? They want to implement AI for their consumers, for their internal employees, for their processes, let's say underwriting, so on and so forth. A lot of things are getting implemented, right? A lot of AI in different workflows is getting automated, right? And now that agents are also at the cusp, right? Every other workflow is being automated. So yes, I think every BFSI is actually having a AI leader now, right? And the job of the AI leader is not just implement, but also govern, right? And also have such tools which can help them understand whether these the agents that are being implemented, the AI that is being implemented, are they compliant enough or not? Are they regulated enough or not? Are they basically able to handle the nuances of production or not? And there are minute details that everybody needs to understand before even going to production, right? So I think yes, there needs to be, if there is not with any of the BFSI, they soon after realize when they go into production, right? Because there are nuances that comes into play, right? So I think, and as you rightly said, Antara, that technology first scales and then basically there are guardrails put on it, right?
Yes.
I think that is what is happening with AI as well, right? But with BFSI, there is trust involved, there is money involved. So yes, we need to be very, very vigilant. We need to understand that every AI that is going outside with our consumer, we need to be basically having those guardrails in before even deploying it. And now, from the aspect of deployment, right? A lot of vendors who are actually implementing this in BFSI environment, there are now specialized vendors who are actually doing it only for BFSI, only for e-commerce, only for different categories. So if they know nuances, and these are vertical AI companies that are actually emerging, right? So I think, and one thing I also wanted to, if any of the vendor that is watching, I think there is a true differentiation that can be made out, right? For BFSI category, let's say, right? If you have pure transparency in your systems, in your observability, in your governance, in your auditability as a vendor to your BFSI, it is a differentiation that you are creating into that ecosystem. So I think whoever is selling to BFSI or wants to work with BFSI, I think these are the prerequisites of working in this industry.
Understood. India has invested heavily in AI infrastructure, right? The India AI mission is in fact underway. Government departments are beginning large-scale deployments. Banks are also adopting artificial intelligence across critical functions. But I believe investment in capability without investment in security is a liability. It's not an asset, right? The question is whether India can build security, governance, resilience, and accountability all at the same speed as adoption. And whether we need a national AI security framework that sort of sits, right alongside the India AI mission. So, Yogesh, my question is to you. You drafted the cyber crime investigation manual for Pune Police, I believe, right? And you sit on the review committee at Maharashtra Cyber Office. Now, from that policy and law enforcement perspective, what lessons should India take from the Mythos episode and, of course, from global frontier AI debates about access and governance? And also, what should we be doing in the, say, next 12 months that we are not doing today?
Again, I'll repeat that we need to have our own AI first. And if you look at, there are two aspects to it. One is hardware aspect, another is software aspect, right? We are lacking in both. Imagine these companies are struggling to have a hardware to cope up with the current demand of an AI model to be run at. You can see the impact even at a consumer level. The companies has already gone into the frame contract with all these hardware producers, and again the production of this hardware is again imported. you are importing these hardwares from different countries altogether. Chips is not yet built in India, right? Again, the softwares that software companies that we are mainly have in India are doing those softwares for the companies outside India. Until we don't have our own built-in infrastructure, it is very difficult to have that particular dream come true, to have our own and compete with these developed nations. So I believe that India has to be real serious on the part of how we can have everything make in India, and then probably work around those aspects of, like, if you want to build that particular AI dream for an India, it starts with having each and everything you have in-house. You cannot, imagine your dependency on certain things like natural resources on different countries has put on us on a very difficult situation in like couple of months before. Imagine your dependency on other countries for getting these hardwares, softwares, other resources, energy, right? So, we cannot just think for temporary solution here, I believe so. We have to look at something permanent. And that, I think it's a high time for India to think about the other things which we require to build this AI dream come true. All the things, right from, we have a good amount of talent pool, but we don't have resources. We are a resource hungry country. Definitely to have this much population served, we need resources again. So those resources, I'm not going into the different aspect of those resources, but again, those which is the basic building blocks of any computing thing, you don't have it with you. Okay. Correct. So I believe immediately what we need to do is to, I think, unlike, open our market so the other countries may have those things built in here, have our Indian companies build those things, promote those investors or startups who are willing to do those things inside India ASAP. Okay. So we may have certain things made in India, not only in terms of softwares, but also in terms of hardwares. Also, because this is not sufficient, we also need an energy, right? So also giving boosters to those startups who are giving certain things that we can sort our energy related issues. So if we address everything, and AI may help us understand what else we require to have an AI dream come true, right? So if we address all those things at a time and government takes everything seriously, not only just a cybersecurity, right? Then probably we may get in competition by 2030, some competition here and there. But yeah, that is something it's something to, get reality check for everybody out there, especially the government part of it, that we have to focus on many aspects to have these particular things come true for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Yogesh. I mean, Ashutosh and Yogesh, this has been an enthralling conversation. It's been an educational one. And of course, in the interest of time, we'll have to wrap this segment. But what I want to leave my viewers is with this. The RBI has done something important with this report. It has moved the cybersecurity conversation from server room to the boardroom. And from the boardroom to the realm of the financial stability itself. Now that framing by itself matters because it means that it's no longer just a technological problem. It is very much a governance problem, it's very much a regulatory problem, and increasingly a national security problem as well. And India is building fast, the India AI mission is underway. Deployments are scaling, and of course UPI is processing millions and billions of transactions on infrastructure that was not designed with AI era threats in mind. Now that the gap between what we are building and what we can defend is very much real, and that RBI has now said so in writing. The question now is whether the institutions, the regulators, the boards and the government respond at the speed the threat demands, or of course whether we wait for the incident that makes the response unavoidable. So gentlemen, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to host you here on Point Break, and ladies and gentlemen, whoever is tuned in right now, we'll see you again on the next episode.